After the turn of the century, the decommissioned Mother Road found shelter amongst small towns and diners along its carefree path. Huge sections of the iconic highway will gradually be lost forever. In front of a sold-out crowd, the fresh out of the wrapper Oklahoma City Thunder hosted their first home game. Despite a 98-87 loss, Oklahoma fans came for a party. So they had one. The little church on Grove had its new address, and with it, some new challenges.
We had a caravan that came that day. They even had the police leading us, and it was awesome. But we had a ceremony, and it was really exciting, when we actually moved up here in a brand new building.
We kind of had the impression that if we built this building and just opened it, that people would come. And that didn't turn out. That happened, but the growth didn't come along with it.
When the church moved up here, the cost overruns on the building were pretty dramatic. The old church building was supposed to have a value that was 4 times what it was sold for. So after all the smoke cleared, we ended up over $5 million in debt. Our congregation was shrinking. A lot of people didn't make the move because of the new location. Jerry McKinney was our pastor. It was tough. It was tough on him.
Jerry was ill right after we moved here, we found out. And so it was a difficult transition for him. He really gave it all that he could, though. He did his best through sickness.
And it was tough on him, and it was tough on the congregation because there wasn't money to service the debt and pay much of the staff and keep the church opening. And I think if God hadn't had Max here during that transition, I don't know what would have happened. Because he was someone that people could see that was stable, that was hanging in there, that was staying with it. It was good that Max was here. God had him at the right place at the right time.
On Monday afternoon, May 10th, 2010, 56 confirmed tornadoes touched down in Oklahoma, the second largest one-day total in the state's history. That evening, after the storms left the state, Gary England would gently put Oklahoma to bed, the same way he's done for the past 38 years. In a hospital room, as the storms raged that day, friends gathered to say goodbye to a good friend.
When Max Alexander was on his deathbed, I went up to see him. And as I was talking to Max, I noticed Bill Hulls was also up there.
Max called Bill and asked him to do the ceremony. He came down and tried to get in to see Max, and his daughter Mary is a nurse. She wouldn't let him in, And he starts telling her that he called him. Max called me.
I was talking to Max. He said, Bill Hulls is the guy you need to call as pastor. And it's interesting because then he had arranged, Bill was there to talk to Max about preaching at his funeral.
Bill Holtz did Max's funeral, and that funeral was something else. It was just a celebration of life, But I feel like all of us could just see Bill being our pastor,
And that put Bill in front of all of our congregation. Max was a very, very popular individual. There are a lot of people at his funeral. It's very well attended. So Bill was exposed to that. And after that, we met and we started talking about who to call as a pastor. And obviously Bill Hulls' name came up very quickly.
We were anxious for him to come back. We knew that the church needed someone and something. And it just felt like the right person. God had called the right person.
3 years in the making, the Devon Tower opened its doors in 2012. The 844-foot, 50-story building will remain a fixture in the Oklahoma skyline for years to come. The church on Rockwell begins building as well.
He made 2 or 3 trips over here, and it was a long process. It was a number of months before he got to the point to where he felt like God was really calling him to Putnam City Baptist Church.
He had a good church going up there, but he just felt the Lord leading him here. And that was kind of amazing to see how God worked in his life and brought him there. I mean, he kind of tore his family away from, his kids were young, but some were teenagers, and that's hard when you're a teenager to tear your family away from their friends. But God led him here.
They moved to Oklahoma City. Bill became our pastor, and he and Cammie were a great team to have. We were very blessed. God is very good in that respect.
After Bill got here, we just didn't have money coming in. And then when Bill got here, things got exciting.
Things started happening pretty quickly. It's amazing how quickly attitudes change, how quickly you go from really having a negative attitude or really almost like a cloud over the church because things were so heavy upon it. And you could see a ray of light, and Bill was a great leader. He's an unbelievable people person. He just does such a great job. He's a great pastor, but he's also a great communicator.
I'll have to say that Bill Halls is a true pastor. He encompasses everything, from being able to preach, to caring about people, to drawing people in, to really having a heart for lost people.
He was pretty much, there at his church in Tulsa. And yeah, God, like what you just said, God grabbed him and put him here. And he's led us ever since with God being faithful through him. So it's been a great trip so far.
If you really want to get down to the truth of the matter, if you're going to have a hero of this story, you just have to say God's the hero of the story, because there have been so many different pastors here that have done really great things during their tenure. There's been great lay leadership in this church, but through it all, really, you see the hand of God on it. There were so many people that God used in a significant way in this church. Rod Masteller had amazing things happen while he was at this church. This grew and was reaching out into the community. He used Max Alexander. Max was an unbelievable man of God who was at Putnam City Baptist Church when we really needed someone. And then God brought Bill Holtz here. He came in at an extremely difficult time, and he took a church that was on a downward trend, and he got it stabilized, and he gave it vision. And I think that was God using Bill to do that, obviously.
I think it's the Lord that didn't stop leading us, didn't stop inspiring us, didn't stop helping us to have a plan.
I'd have to say that it's the people that have allowed God to direct them, to stay with the vision and to not give up, and to be here for each other. And I think God has had his hand in all of this in a miraculous way.
He worked through a lot of people. But it's definitely Jesus. And that's all I've got to say about that.
Oklahoma was not prepared. Nobody was. COVID-19 ushered in a global pandemic. For the better part of 2 years, a common way of life was no longer common. The future felt uncertain. Artificial intelligence, or AI, has students on college campuses shifting gears. Jobs once thought untouchable are now touchable. And the question kept coming, what does the future hold? On a 3-mile stretch of Cyrus Avery's highway, traffic is light. It's been this way for a bit. The crumbling asphalt won't be repaired. The Mother Road's future is precarious. Despite a world flush with uncertainty, the little church looks ahead, hopeful. Of course, it's no surprise. It's what they've always done. It's all they've known. So they begin again, knowing a city's waiting for the gospel.